heroes fighting armies of hostile Indians. The tide has changed in movie making, thankfully, but the image of Indian warriors riding across the Great Plains still remains the universal symbol of all American Indians. Yet even with this vivid image, we know little about the people and the legendary individuals who led them, men who fought and sacrificed everything for their nations. In this hour, we'll see the people of the plains in a different light. But first, we'll travel even farther west to a place where hundreds of thousands of Indian people lived in one of the most beautiful and peaceful regions of the continent, California. Welcome to Part 7 of 500 Nations, Struggle for the West.
"300,000 people lived in the diverse environments of California. They spoke 80 languages, worked, worshipped, and raised children on lands occupied by their ancestors since before the dawn of European civilization. Many California nations had evolved into highly structured societies. Among them, one of the largest was the Chumash, living on the coastal islands and along the coast in the area of present-day Santa Barbara. Large Chumash towns supported a professional class of astrologers, priests, government leaders, and healers. Workers belonged to centuries-old craft guilds of basket and canoe makers. Workers also manufactured the flat shell beads that were the currency of the region. Production and control of the money supply placed the Chumash nation at the center of the Southern California economy. In the late 18th century, this complex world of the ancient Chumash and their coastal neighbors would be changed forever. In 1772, Spanish missionaries, led by Father Junipero Serra, arrived in Chumash territory.
Believe me, when I saw their general behavior, their pleasing ways and engaging manners, my heart was broken to think that they were still deprived of the light of the Holy Gospel. Father Junipero Serra, Spanish missionary.
Ignoring the beauty and complexity of Chumash society, the Spanish set out to convert them to Christianity by whatever means necessary.
I and two of my relatives went down to the beach to catch clams. We saw two men on horseback coming rapidly towards us. My relatives were afraid. They fled with all speed. It was too late. They overtook me and lassoed and dragged me for a long distance. Their horses running. When we arrived at the mission, they locked me in a room for a week. The father told me that he would make me a Christian. One day they threw water on my head and gave me salt to eat. And with this, the interpreter told me that now I was Christian, and that I was called Jesus.
The building up of the mission into a coercive labor force didn't happen overnight. It was a gradual thing, but eventually they began forcing Indians to remove from their free way of life in their home villages and to be reduced to one central mission site to be controlled. Once a family was taken in to the missions, the missionaries separated children from their parents. All the little boys and the little girls at the age of 6 were locked up in children's barracks. So it was work, religion, and work all day long. Highly structured, highly supervised.
Indian people were put to work tanning, blacksmithing, and caring for the mission herds. They made candles, bricks, tiles, shoes, saddles, and soap. Labor was strictly enforced under the discipline of the lash.
And thus I existed, till I found a way to escape. But I was tracked, and they caught me like a fox. They lashed me until I lost consciousness. For several days I could not raise myself from the floor where they had laid me. And I still have on my shoulders the marks of the lashes. Hanitil kumiyai.
For over 50 years, the mission system, backed by Spanish arms, exerted control over the California coast, crushing every revolt. Inside the missions, disease and harsh living conditions contributed to a genocidal death rate.
The average life of a mission Indian was about less than 12 years. For children, it was